We are recording. All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of Dickbird Dabs, and this is one of the things I was looking forward to most on this channel. And this is where me and some of my esteemed colleagues from the Green Energon private Facebook chat and also the Toys and Weed group. We're gonna discuss a topic, and we're also going to smoke a little bit of weed and review a strain of weed. If I'm sure we won't talk about it that much. Maybe halfway through or something, we'll review it, talk about the weed. But so tonight we're gonna be talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which has been a huge part of, I think, just all our lives for the last 10 years. But more recently, like when we all started talking. I know besides Chris, I know the rest of us were more into into everything, but like collecting Transformers and stuff like that. And then just this whole MCU shit just kind of like took over, and then we all found like this common. I think that's what we talk about most. So I'm just gonna go around and introduce everybody. First, we have from Seattle, Wayne Fort.
Everybody, what's going on? Appreciate you guys having me here. I want to give a shout out to Access Canibus. It's my pot store that I own in Washington. If you're ever in Washington, come check us out.
And we have Christopher Sturm.
Hello, Instagram plastic.swayze. That's all I got.
That's a great Instagram handle. And the guy that started it all and kind of started this group, and I think you started it, right?
Yeah.
So, yep, Neeko Tronus.
What's up? At Neeko Tronus on the IG and the Facebooks and all over the place.
And I am Brother Kyle, and you can find me at Brother Kyle cross-platform. And let's get this party started with a little bit of dabs.
Yeah.
I should have done this first.
Don't mind if I yabba dabba do.
So, what I was telling you earlier about my torch being messed up, that was a bad can I had. That's why it was all spitting out the side.
I knew it. I told you.
I'm going to move my mic out a bit. All right. I should have heated my nail up. I should have preheated it up a little bit.
There's no way you could have timed your intro and your nail cooling all down at the same time.
So, Wayne, what were you smoking just now, by the way?
I've got some Cedar Creek here from the shop. They're a grower that's close to the Seattle area. I've really become partial to them in my store because they're pesticide-free, which is a major thing lately. Folks have been requesting more of the pesticide-free. Kind of been in the news that there's been outbreaks of reported farms that have, said they're pesticide-free, and then it comes out in independent testing that it's not the case. You guys have always been Johnny on the spot. Like, they keep their stuff clean, their numbers are high. I've always just really liked their stuff. So, Cedar Creek for tonight. I've also got a little bit of Panda from Fat Panda. It's called Romulan, and some educational dabs that they sent me.
Romulan.
Mm-hmm.
Get educated.
My favorite, that pack of stickers you sent me. My favorite sticker is the Fat Panda one. I want to put that shit on my car, but I think it has a weed leaf on it. And I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, don't have it.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
All right, Chris, what are you smoking?
I've got some Mandarin Dream by Cushmasters. I don't know if you can read that. Cushmasters Live Resin. Very good. Very good. Definitely one of the better brands out here in Colorado that are producing concentrates these days.
Neeko?
Yeah. I am dabbing on. Ooh, so tasty and good. It's Dazed Extracts Candyland. I don't know how well that's coming through.
I'm gonna put you guys that sent me those pictures. I'm gonna put the pictures up in a graphic.
Oh, right on.
I did send you those already. So.
Yep. Yeah, I'll probably even tag the companies if I can.
Man, edit out my coughing, please.
Heads up.
Jesus.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Yago. Sorry. Yago. Yeah. Everybody do chug the Yago.
Now it's going to
Yeah.
saucy.
I forgot to put water in my bottle.
Water.
Yeah, I forgot to put water in here, but oh well, still works the same, even without it.
Oh, I will bring up my new piece. Since we're all, I finally got a clip for my. Fuck that. I'm gonna use my other one.
I was having some problems with that torch, and I got a little hit, but I didn't get quite what I wanted. So I'm gonna drop a little bit of shit in my pen.
Yeah, dude.
I'll have it loaded for throughout the show. I'll just keep whacking on it. Okay, I'm smoking on this live resin sauce. I think it's sauce. Sojay Haze, and it's done by a company called Cresco, and they're a local company. The dispensary I have out in Pennsylvania only has like 4 or 5 different companies that they sell. There's not a big. I think there's only a few different growers out here in Pennsylvania. And oh, by the way, I don't know what the rules and shit are, but little disclaimer: all the marijuana that has been smoked during this show has been obtained legally through uses of recreational or medical cards. So
medical mitten up here.
There we go. Fill up this pen. Yeah, this stuff has like a real fruity, like kind of like lemony taste.
God damn.
I'm gonna switch over actually for the next one. I've got some cake batter, which is like a live resin.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the show. Good night, everybody.
What were we gonna talk about?
Fucking DC.
Ow!
Oh,
Justice League.
Everybody
just tunes out, turns it off immediately. Okay. So,
sorry.
That's all right. Keep smoking, keep coughing, do whatever you're good. I'm just gonna keep we'll start running conversation. So, Marvel.
You're gonna edit this, I assume.
I'm gonna do some editing. Honestly, probably most of it I can just leave up unless anybody said something that they don't want put up in there. I can probably not edit most of it. I'll probably just shorten things a little bit. But that's a cool rig, Wayne.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a little. I don't know.
That thing looks OP.
All right, guys. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm sure everybody's been down since Iron Man started. But man, I don't know about you guys, but when I saw Iron Man when it first came out in the theaters, and I just saw it with my grandma. Shout out to my grandma. She lives out in Colorado. She's like 90. She just went skydiving. But when I'm just thinking, like when I was watching that in the theaters, to just like think of where it would have been 10 years later and how just like emotionally invested that I've been in all these movies. Like, and of course they had, a few that were kind of, but for the most part, man, just every one of them I might have seen at least paid to see every one, but you guys all saw Iron Man in the theaters?
I
did.
I got into it late. I saw Captain America in the theaters.
Was your first one? Nice.
But I did see Iron Man previous to seeing Captain America, the first Avenger, but it wasn't in the theaters. It had already been released on DVD, and I was like, damn, dude, this is like seriously good. I highly doubted that an Iron Man movie could be good because I knew nothing of the character. I never read any Iron Man comics. But I was totally down to go see Captain America in the theaters, and then I went and saw Thor right after that, and those were my
I mean, Iron Man wasn't.
My
I mean,
baptism for the MCU.
Wasn't it kind of? I mean, you guys probably remember more than me because I wasn't reading comics around that time. But did Iron Man wasn't really like super popular? Was he? I mean, he was with the Avengers, and the Avengers were cool, but like Iron Man, like he wasn't like crazy.
I mean, yeah, there were people that loved him, but not like Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah, that's what you got to understand is that Marvel's biggest sellers, Marvel's true A team, is the X-Men and Spider-Man. Those are the two biggest brands. The Avengers were B and C squad characters lumped together.
Oh, totally. That's why when they were about to go bankrupt and sold the movie rights, nobody bought anything else. They only bought X-Men and Spider-Man related.
Spider-Man, exactly.
Because no one cared about the other shit.
And that's really the thing. It's now that Disney has pretty much all of it in-house, and Universal has rolled over for Disney, and Disney's petting their belly, and they're playing nice. So,
we'll finally get a Planet Hulk movie now.
Yeah, we'll have more Hulk. We'll have Namor, and then hopefully there were some rumors going around on the internet that I saw before we went live that like there's talk that Sony might actually get bought up by Amazon.
Oh, George Soros, you beautiful billionaire.
He would save us. He would save Spidey for us, dude.
Exactly. Saving Spidey for us and leaving him with Marvel and Disney. And finally we can have a whole complete Marvel universe.
Because
so
if that negates their ownership rights,
right? Yeah, because the rights that Sony got from Marvel when they bought them were non-transferable, which meant if Sony was bought by anyone, no matter who owned Marvel as an entity would get the rights to Spider-Man back.
Go Amazon, I gotta say.
Dude,
with it. I mean,
this will be, if it does go down like this is going to be amazing. It's just going to be like...
I kind of hate the idea of Disney owning everything. Well, I guess Disney wouldn't own them, though. It'd be Amazon, so...
Well, Marvel would own... Well, I guess Disney owns Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like,
as long as Disney can be the conglomerate that it is, it could be the giant monster, whatever. As long as I got Spider-Man with the rest of his homies in Marvel, cool.
That's right.
Here's the most important part of that too, is that it'll not only be Spider-Man, but it'll be Spider-Man continuing in the MCU the way we've gotten to know him over 5 movies.
I would say, I would go as far as to say leading the MCU for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm too invested. I'm too invested with Tom Holland to see another fucking start over. Let's not, please. Let's just go with what we've gotten. They've done a great job with Tom Holland,
bro.
You know, from his intro in Civil War all the way through, it's been everything they've done with him has been good.
Dude, seriously, after Civil War came out, I was talking to my friends as we were leaving the theater. I'm like, dude, the fucking 13 minutes that he was in that movie is the best Spider-Man movie that's been out so far.
Exactly, man. His first appearance was like a home run, and
they knocked it out of the park.
They really did, and that's the thing. I really hope the next Spidey movie, whatever happens, I hope it's more of seeing him being Spidey in New York and
I want to see him enjoying himself and failing, but not necessarily failing for good, but failing and learning from it.
Well,
because you see it in the movies that he's in, he immediately gets okay, we're kind of skipping to the end of the MCU here, but in Far From Home, he gets control of Edith, and the first thing he does is almost kill his entire class. Dude, I like seeing him make those mistakes, and then
Hey, in his defense, that kid was a prick.
He was a prick.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah. Fuck whatever his name was. Todd,
I forget it too.
Taking pictures of people in the bathroom, that's a prick move.
I'll tell you what, I had a lot of
What was that all about?
He was trying to sneaky Pete in on his girl, man.
Right?
He was
That's
trying
a dick move.
get whatever advantage he can.
And you see what happened. Don't cheat, people. Be a good human being.
I mean, unless you can get away with it, then
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, if your name's Eddie Guerrero, okay. But
Mamacita.
But
I'm gonna cut that out.
reverting back to what you were saying about, like, I would have never thought after seeing that Captain America movie in the theater that I would have such like an emotional investment.
Yeah,
in
dude.
some of these characters that I've never read a Captain America comic. I don't know what goes on in his books.
Yeah.
Same with Thor. Pretty much everybody that's not Spider-Man, we could say that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. That was kind of like all like X-Men and Spider-Man were like the two biggest I've ever read. I read some Avengers shit, but yeah, never Iron Man solo. I never read any Thor books.
And like I find myself at the end of Infinity War tearing up over a tree dissolving into dust.
Yeah.
And some dude with like a bunch of red tattoos and like it's like, dude, I would have never saw myself. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but
well, you're like on it, man. It's crazy.
It's just crazy how they grabbed you. They just grabbed your heart, and you're like, dude, I'm fucking in it for the long haul, you know?
Yeah. Like, you look at the Guardians and stuff like that, and it's like, if you were to put that on paper and hand it out to people and say, hey, what do you think of this? And, you know, you've got Rocket and Groot and Drax, but you don't have any of that personality because it's just on paper. You'd look at that and say, fuck no, we're the X-Men.
Yeah, none of those characters are household names. You don't, like, dude, who is any of this? My main draw to seeing that was Vin Diesel saying 3 words for the entire movie and getting paid for it.
Exactly.
And freaking Andy from Parks and Rec being in space.
Yeah.
They nailed it, dude. And they just nailed it. Like, you fell in love with everybody instantly in that movie. Like, I don't know how they do it, dude.
The soundtrack was a huge part of that. They just nailed it with, you know.
They do. Everybody kind of has like Iron Man has the AC/DC thing, and Thor has the Led Zeppelin thing, and then Star-Lord has the whole like 80s kind of like pop song thing going.
Let's not forget Spider-Man and the greatest band ever, Ramones.
Yeah. Yeah, they do a good job of putting all that shit together.
Yeah. They're wizards.
I forget what I was gonna say. You know, it's so funny. I had so many like thoughts in my head of like where like questions and stuff, and like they're all gone now. I'm fucking totally freestyling this at this point. Like, I should. That's my fault. I should have definitely wrote down like a little like outline or something. But fucking. Oh yeah, I don't know what I want to say. The first time I ever heard of Rocket Raccoon was playing the Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And he was one of the cat. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, Capcom has a raccoon. What the fuck? And then I googled it, and I had heard of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just the name alone, and like, but I had never heard it. Like, I didn't know who Rocket was, and then upon like, I spent a lot of time back in the day, like on the internet, like researching like comic biographies and stuff like that. So like read Guardians of the Galaxy, it didn't really sound too like fucking appealing.
No, man.
Dude.
And like, now it's like my favorite one.
The first time I heard of Rocket Raccoon was when they cast Bradley Cooper to play a raccoon. I'm like, dude, I mean, I don't know what this is going to be, but I'm going to go see it. And
I was, so like in the 90s, before Image Comics started, Guardians of the Galaxy was not super popular, but it was popular enough that the guy who was working on that, a guy named Jim Valentino, he jumped ship with Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, Will Sportaccio, and Eric Larson to create Image Comics. But that Guardians team, completely different than anything that we've got. Actually, I want to say Yondu might have been there, but he was completely different appearance. Well, I mean, still blue with the mohawk, but it's a very different version of these characters. And even like Star-Lord died early on, and it's like when I first heard that, like before I knew anything about the movie or had seen it, like that was kind of mind-blowing, because I'm like, why are you guys doing Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, why is this happening? And now it's boom, just like
the best ones.
Yeah, like
it's up there
I
in my
want
top
more
5
Rocket.
for sure.
Yeah, I want more Groot. I want more Drax. Like, if they could just do a Drax Rocket Groot movie, especially,
When Dave Bautista came out and said that he wasn't going to do another Guardians Galaxy movie unless they brought back gun script, at least, I knew that they were going to have to do it, because, I mean, how do you do it without Dave Bautista?
There's no way.
Amazing Drax.
You can't.
The fans would have revolted. They would have had to kill the character, something. Like, just not have it, Drax in there.
And they brought
Dave
James Gunn back, dude, so...
I'm of the mind that they were always going to bring James Gunn back, and they just were waiting for the heat to die down, and then everybody forgot about it. Nobody talked about it anymore. And then when he got announced, nobody really cared except the people that were fans. Like, there was I don't think there was any outrage when he got fucking rehired. Nobody gave a shit, because people were on to the next
thing to be mad about. Yeah.
Cardi B controversy or something, you know. Shout out to Cardi B. I'm sure she's listening. She's a subscriber.
The one thing that really sucks about that whole James Gunn Guardian situation is that it delayed Guardians 3 even more. Like, that's the biggest bummer of it all.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Thor with those guys messing around, dude, in space. Just like, I feel like I want it to be kind of like a Fast Times at Ridgemont High movie, but in space.
That's
what I'm hoping for.
I wonder if Groot can grow weed.
I mean, hopefully we'll find out.
Well, if I was Groot, that's what I'd be doing.
Maybe it's like short for good root.
Good root. Shit. I don't know. Marvel, right?
How about Endgame?
It brings a lot of people.
So, all right, before we get into the two, because I want to talk, spend a chunk on Infinity War and Endgame, but just real quick, if you're, we'll start with Wayne, like, just like, what's your go-to like trilogy, like, for the MCU, like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, like your Guardians, like your I guess what I'm asking is, what's your favorite ones? I don't know why I use so many words for that.
What's your favorite franchise, maybe?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna just sit down and watch a single MCU movie, it would probably be Ragnarok. It's probably one of my favorites overall, and not to say that the other Thor movies make it my favorite. I'm excited for the new movie, the new Thor movie. It's not to say that it won't be wonderful. It probably is going to be awesome. But of the three, it's by far my favorite, and one of my favorite MCU movies overall. So I'm going to sit down and watch one. It would probably just be Ragnarok. But there's always this place in my heart for the original Iron Man. I remember, walking out of the theater, mind just blown. The only thing up to that point we had seen that was any good was, Batman Begins. So, like, they had screwed up the X-Men movies, and they'd screwed up, Spawn, and they'd screwed up, you name it. It had all been kind of like pissed on. And to finally see something done to its proper potential. Blade was good. I like the Blade
was
movie.
Surprisingly decent.
Yeah. The Blade movies are still like
they hold up.
They're good, and like the shit that, like, if you go back to the first one, the only thing you can really fairly nitpick is just the CGI and the special effects, just because they didn't have the technology we have today.
Yeah.
You know, so that dates it. But other than that, you know, motherfuckers is always trying to ice skate uphill.
Mm-hmm.
Great fucking series of movies.
So great. I hope he makes whenever they do the new Blade. I hope he makes a cameo in it.
That would be dope.
As like a vampire or something.
Just anything. He could just be
or something, dude.
Fucking walking around the background, just
in
a trench coat, just fucking turn to the camera and smile or some shit.
Even if they like bumped into each other on the street, just like
watch it, motherfucker.
You watch it, motherfucker.
Chris, same question.
Like, the version of like the Spidey pointing back and forth.
For me, it's fairly recent, but I gotta go with my boy Spidey on that. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've watched Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like, sometimes at work, you know, I work in a pipe store, so I have a TV in there, and I'll turn on Homecoming sometimes, and then I'm like, play it again, and because it's on in the background while I'm cleaning some glass or opening a box, but it's like that's my main go-to. I would have to say, definitely Spidey.
Spider-Verse, right? I mean, you watch Spider-Verse probably.
Unrelated, Spider-Verse, dude.
It is unrelated to the MCU. You're right. Like, but
it's still, but you know what though?
I kind of hate that Spider-Verse is so good because it kind of inflates Sony's head a little bit. I feel like more than it should.
Yeah,
but I do love it.
It is good.
I like the idea of Spider-Verse because it opens up a whole fucking, all the windows to, you could roll in any incarnation of Spider-Man in that. It's literally anything.
I'm hoping
you could get Tobey Maguire, you could get fucking Tom Holland. It's limitless.
I'm hoping that Marvel gets it back, and then they could do Spider-Verse. Like,
I'd like to see '90s the animated series Spidey pop in there. That would be fucking awesome.
That would be cool.
Neeko.
You know, it's if it's not, Infinity War and Endgame for me, it's Ragnarok. Like, I'm right there with Wayne. I just absolutely fucking love Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi is a really, really great director.
Did you just drink Jaeger? Sorry to cut you off. Did you just take a swig of Jaeger?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Neeko. Taika Waititi.
Yeah. Ragnarok's just awesome. It's such a great movie, and I mean, it hits on so many different levels. Everything with the Hulk, him fighting fucking Fenris on the fucking Rainbow Bridge, and him like biting into Hulk and Hulk bleeding and Hulk raw, and then beating up a giant fucking wolf dog.
Just like uppercuts him, dude.
Yeah, goes for that DDT, and then his fucking doggy neck bends the other way, and it's like, I almost feel bad, but I don't, because I know Hulk's fucking beating his ass because he's a bad puppy, bad dog. But like, Ragnarok's amazing, and I'm excited for where that goes. But Ragnarok would be my answer. I love that movie, man.
What about you?
So for me, it's Captain America. It's especially specifically Winter Soldier, not to take away from First Avenger, but Winter Soldier is I think my favorite MCU movie, and I kind of say that with a caveat, like it's like Infinity War and Endgame, like they're like such my favorites that I can't say like they're they're my. It's like what like I always say like when somebody asks me your favorite X-Men, like it's obviously Wolverine, but everybody says Wolverine. So like so my favorites are Infinity War and Endgame, but outside of that bubble, Winter Soldier and Civil War, they're like my favorite ones. I think they're the best. Like they're most well written. I think out of all the three characters.
Yep.
So like Thor and Iron Man and Captain America, they're the only ones that have like a trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like Iron Man, like the first one was amazing. The second one I actually liked. A lot of people didn't. The third one people like are rough on that. You know,
I'm middle of the road on 2 and 3.
Yeah, I wasn't. You know, it's not. I don't want to say it's bad, but it wasn't thrilling. But same thing with Thor. Thor 1 was cool, but it kind of wasn't crazy. Thor 2, people shit on a lot. I thought it was okay, but again, it didn't really thrill me. But Ragnarok is obviously amazing. Captain America, I think, has 3 solid movies that I think probably get better with each one.
Where each movie is great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, Civil War 2. Civil War is helped by the fact that it's basically
Everybody.
Avengers 2.5.
Okay.
Before
give him that one. But
and Spidey,
Winter Soldier.
And I know
Yeah.
this has been said too, and I think one of the things that makes the MCU movies the best is that they seem to. So it's like they're making a Captain America movie, but they're making it as if it's a war movie, or with Winter Soldier they're writing a spy movie.
Yeah.
But they're just using the superheroes as the characters. Same thing with Thor. Thor is a fantasy movie. I don't know. I guess Iron Man's just Iron Man, but
just like the action movies, aren't.
Yeah. They do a good job of making the actual thing. Besides them being a superhero, like the rest, like those with Spidey. Spidey's a teen drama, and it just happens to be Spider-Man is the main character.
Yeah.
So
but it always was, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're taking aspects of the characters and their stories that, we grew up with, but not only we grew up with it, like Kevin Feige grew up with this stuff, and the Russo brothers grew up with this stuff. That's why they love it, And it shows that they love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm way with them being like.
Do it all.
You can tell when they care about when someone who's making a movie cares about it, versus when they just shit it out like Warner Brothers.
Yes.
Or like Sony, or like the Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, I mean to, but not to.
Like with the Amazing Spider-Man movies, like they didn't make those because they they're trying to make money obviously, but they made those so they can keep a license.
Yeah.
They didn't really give a shit about it. Like, the first 2 Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans are awesome, but
dude, Spider-Man 2, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't give a shit about the Amazing Spider-Man, and it didn't seem like they gave a shit about it seems like they just pressed Venom out because Spider-Man's gaining some traction, so like, oh, we'll make a Venom movie, and
everybody loves Venom.
I didn't think it was
Spider-Man. What a fucking idea.
Yeah. It's a goofy way to go about things, and it's like for them to I hate the idea of Marvel conceding and saying, fine, we'll bring your stupid fucking Venom into the MCU.
I do too, man. That hurts me.
It's really a terrible idea, and I
would be okay with it to get Spidey back if that's the only way.
Deal with the devil
so bad. I would still be like, all right, dude, I'll buy your fucking.
And that's the thing, though. If Amazon does buy Sony Pictures, fucking A, we don't have to worry about it.
Say goodbye to Tom Hardy Venom.
We'll just be
say goodbye to Morbius, all those bullshit movies they want to make.
Yeah. Oh, eat a dick, Jared Leto, whatever the fuck. Get the fuck out of here.
No,
it
I
would
will
be a
say
good resolution
been good
to
in movies. But,
go ahead, Wayne.
I was gonna say after going through watching the big saga between Sony and MCU for the last several months, it would be kind of nice to put a bow on it, have Amazon just do it for us and move on.
Yeah.
So just caught it speculation, and
they got the money, dude. They got the
They
money.
do.
I think it'll happen.
How good are we all gonna feel when it does happen, and we're just like, Spidey's coming home?
We'll have to make Spider-Man Homecoming 2 or something,
Oh, dude. Yeah, what do they call the next one?
I don't know.
And where does it pick up? Like, dude, that was a huge cliffhanger with that movie.
Yeah, it can't end like that, dude. It just can't end like
that.
We were all having the rumors before that they would use that to bring in like Daredevil again as his lawyer, or some people were saying She-Hulk as his lawyer, but I think She-Hulk's going to be out way before that. I just saw that. Speaking of She-Hulk, there was a thing that somebody might have found. They might have decided who that she was going to be playing.
Oh, really?
I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah, She-Hulk cast.
Dude, who would you want to play her the most?
Oh,
I don't know.
Rumors that it was going to be that MMA fighter, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. No, it won't be. Oh, it's the chick from
I hope not.
Okay. So the thing is that somebody came out and said that she wanted to play She-Hulk, and it was Stephanie Beatrice, who was the chick from you ever watch Brooklyn 911? I
have not.
She's like the real tall, skinny chick.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the show?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, yeah. She plays Rosa, I think, is the Spanish chick. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, she's funny on that show, man. She's like kind of just like she's kind of an asshole, like kind of a dick, but like in a funny way though. Like,
yeah,
I think it should be Fran Drescher.
Oof.
She-Hulk.
Oof.
Well, the thing is that they don't have to cast like Ronda Rousey. Like, she looks like she could fuck people up, but they don't really have to cast somebody like big, like that's at the big or muscular or anything.
Right? No, I just seen that. I just heard that. I wasn't in any way supporting the idea.
No, you're right though. That's like a thing that people have been saying. In fact, when I just looked up that thing, the first article said five actresses that would be better at She-Hulk than Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, that would be one of those the casting agents just like, oh, she's an MMA fighter. Yeah, we'll just cast her. Like, that's without thinking. That's like a 90s
Fox does,
90s superhero movies.
That's some Fox Sony executive thinking. Something like that. And I think like what Marvel will probably do, because she's going to be She-Hulk, I think if it's that chick from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like I think there'll probably be some level of CGI like they do for Mark Ruffalo.
Oh yeah.
And they'll probably make her, she's going to be a huge bitch.
A big bitch.
Does she turn into a normal person when she's not green? I don't know anything about the character.
She did for a while, and then she started to just stay in She-Hulk form. So, like, she was also a lawyer, and she was trying cases, like, as a lawyer, as She-Hulk, in, like, a fucking skirt and heels and, like, a suit jacket.
Dude,
like, legit.
I could see that all being that chick from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, dude. That would be awesome.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but she was wasn't her thing kind of like she could turn back into human, but she didn't want her to feel like ashamed of who she was, so she decided to stay as a She-Hulk. Was that was that an arc that she might have had or something?
I think there was probably something like that. Yeah, like I remember there was a big push of her being like, lawyer in Hulk form versus her just being, Jennifer Walters' lawyer. Because like people were always like, that's the She-Hulk? That's that? You know,
probably helps her win cases too.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing, is like she was like, as soon as she hulked out, it ended up like just everything was going in her favor, because they just saw green and they were like, yeah, we're going with you.
All right, I want to talk about the stuff moving forward, but before I do, we should touch on Infinity War and Endgame real quick. Like I know it sounds silly, but man, like those movies to me were so important. Like it was so important that I watched those, and not like important in a like worldwide like sense, just but like for me, entertainment wise, like I honestly just like for the longest time didn't give a shit about anything else except Infinity War. Like seeing it finally, and then as soon as I could, watching it again and again and again, and I'm assuming everybody felt the same way.
Oh
Totally.
yeah, like it was tying the ribbon on everything that had come before it, dude. Like it was perfect.
Actually, I'm gonna pull on that ribbon a little bit and say it's the first bunny loop.
Okay, I get you. I'm thinking of the Infinity Endgame bubble.
Like
as
yeah,
one,
like
yeah.
The Infinity Saga.
It was the first loop, not the swoop or the pull yet. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, dude, they're so good, and like that's the beauty of Infinity War. Like we've all watched that movie so many times, and I know it's
ingrained.
It's over 100 times. I mean, like I know for a fact I've seen it an obscene amount of time.
You've seen it more than I have, I will say that. But
yeah,
sometimes like every day, dude, for like a week. Watch Infinity War, dude. Fuck it,
Yeah. And I think I did that for months, where it was like, wake up, have my coffee,
just
wake and bake.
For Endgame, dude.
Infinity War. There goes, 3 hours of the first 3 hours of my day. And dude, Endgame is like the greatest part about it is all the callbacks and everything that like pulls you back to the first Cap and the first Iron Man, and it's like, and even Avengers 2, man. The greatest thing in
the whole last 10 years was Marvel basically jacking off, and then Endgame was a 3-hour fucking nut.
It wasn't just a nut. Disney was bruising their throats on the fans' pop.
Dude, like, and I feel like Infinity War and Endgame made the previous Avengers movies, where they were a little bit on the corny side, like they made them better, like retroactively.
Well, definitely.
Because you're like, wait a minute, now I watch Age of Ultron and I'm like, okay, this isn't as bad.
Well, that's
any
like
of those other movies that I didn't think were as great beforehand, rewatching them between Infinity War and Endgame, I'm like, dude, okay, this wasn't as bad as I thought maybe here. And then it's probably the Infinity War placebo effect, but
they use so much symbolism from the second Avengers, that Age of Ultron. All the symbolism and all the scenes that you see, almost all of them get recreated in Endgame. Almost every single one. Captain America on his back, the Leviathans flying through the air, all the them all dying. One of them is already dead anyway.
I forgot about Tony's dream.
Yeah.
Vision or whatever.
The Scarlet Witch vision that he had.
Yeah, dude. And fucking Chris Evans did his Captain Kirk impression.
Yeah, that was golden.
It's just it's so great. Like they're such good storytellers, and like Marcus and McFeely and the Russo brothers are just totally awesome storytellers. And from Winter Soldier to Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, like I really, really hope that they come back and do more, whether it's a Wolverine movie or Secret Wars or...
Dude, that's got to be the next big step for the Avengers is Secret Wars, right?
I would think so. I don't know, man. I mean, if they roll in the Spidey stuff still and they have Norman Osborn, they could do a Dark Reign. That could be a real big crossover. But and Secret Wars sounds like something that they would probably shoot for, with them introducing the Eternals and all the cosmic shit.
Yeah, they've already done the space and it's a hit, so why not continue it? Put the homies from Earth in space, see if it works. It's gonna,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, you can almost look at the action figures releases, and that seems to be where the action figures are kind of headed, as almost like a little cue that maybe that's the direction they're taking.
Yeah.
They don't do these things on accident. Like, they didn't just release all those classic X-Men figures for no reason.
I'm still hopeful because of if like Marvel can get a hold of Spider-Man. There's a scene in Homecoming where Ned's asking Peter, he's like, do you have to go to that school on whatever number street where the principal has a crossbow? I'm hoping that's Kraven as the principal. Like, that had to be a Kraven Easter egg. Who else? I mean, you never really see him use a crossbow much, but who else would have a crossbow in the Marvel universe that was worth mentioning?
There's probably more than a few characters with a crossbow.
You know who uses a crossbow? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
What if they should bring her into the MCU?
Does Disney own her?
They probably somehow. Disney owns Joss Whedon still. So he owns all his IP.
They wheel him out of refuge like the Winter Soldier, read him 7 phrases in Russian, and ready to transcript.
December 16th.
So, I know for me, like, between waiting for those movies, I was like, I mean, little like dark humor there, but I was thinking like, man, like, if something happened and I died, like the biggest bummer would be like, I'm not gonna get to see Endgame, or I'm not gonna get to see fucking like all the new shit. Like it would be like my lowest point that I could ever be. I would be like, there's no way I'm gonna kill myself, because if I do, then I won't be able to watch. I could be homeless. Dude. And I could still find a way to watch Endgame or something.
Right? Like, I was watching Kevin Smith review the Endgame trailer when they revealed the name of the movie. And like, this shit keeps me alive, man. Like, I have to stay alive to see this. So I'm doing healthy and I'm getting skinny and shit. Like,
dude, I teared up watching him tear up.
Yeah,
dude, right? Get like when they revealed Mysterio's dome in the trailer and the way he freaked out, dude, like a child. It was I brought it all back, dude. Like, that's what I love in it. It just makes me feel young again.
He's awesome because, as he's like this Hollywood director and shit like that, but he's no different from like the way he thinks about comics and like shit like that. He's just us that happened to have became a successful director.
Yeah,
totally. That's really awesome.
Yeah,
I'm taking out a little while.
Yeah, you can see it in like everything that he does.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to move the conversation to future MCU stuff, but before we do, how's the weed all hitting everybody?
Very nice.
Good. I think I'm gonna do another dab.
There we go.
I was gonna say.
I'm just gonna hit on my pen a little bit so I don't have to do the whole torch thing again.
Word life. Sorry about my torch noises.
Keep it on. I'll put I'll put fucking portals through the audio instead of
elevator music. Put elevator music over the torch noises.
It would be awesome if I could find somebody doing the Avengers theme elevator music style. That would be fucking awesome.
About this, but what if Marvel can't get Spider-Man back, and they use this Tony Stark cameo in Black Widow as a way to bring Tony Stark back? Because they're like, who else are we gonna have? I hate thinking about that, but I could see that being a possibility.
So I know I've said this before, but I want to see what anybody else that might be listening thinks. And I always had this really cool idea about the Black Widow movie that it would be her like origin or whatever, but it would end with some of the surviving Avengers like at her like visiting her fucking grave or whatever like that, or having like a remembrance thing, and then all of a sudden like the sky opens up or the portal or from the ground or something, and lightning and all kinds of dark shit, and then she fucking appears, and like the whole thing with her be warning the rest of the Avengers about death and like Mistress Death, like the actual and then they could use the Hela as that. They could bring her back that way.
Ooh, I would love that.
As Mistress Death, and that could be part of like the whole cosmic thing, because death was like a cosmic entity as well. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling we're definitely going to be seeing Hela again. I don't think she's dead.
Well, she's the goddess of death. I don't know if she can like. Remember in South Park when they keep killing Saddam Hussein?
He put a hurting on her, but she doesn't have that to draw power from. But even without it, bro, like she fucking was already like OP.
But I think that's the thing, is without Asgard, she has no power. So that was why Ragnarok happened, was they needed to destroy Ragnarok so that she didn't have her power.
Mm-hmm.
But now that there's new Asgard on Earth, that makes me wonder.
You think that counts? Like she found a loophole or something, maybe? Or
maybe it's maybe she didn't die, and then when the snap happened, maybe she was one of the snap victims, and then she got snapped back.
Maybe I'm thinking back to Odin saying that Asgard is not a place, it's a people. So as long as the people are alive, she should still be able to draw power theoretically,
That's not a bad point. I mean, they specifically made a point of saying that. So
like multiple times.
All right, so sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Asgardians get reborn. Like, they are cyclical, so they're, even if when Thor dies, like, they've had multiple variations in the comics where he has daughters, and some where like he dies and he's then later reincarnated a couple hundred years later or so by whomever is succeeding the throne of Asgard.
Right.
It's it all kind of continues and happens again. So like we'll go through the whole thing where like Thor reaches like the very peak of Asgardian god power.
Yeah, I'm excited for Love and Thunder, dude. I want to get into that.
Cheesy.
Very much so. So moving on to the future of the MCU. So the next thing up is Black Widow going to come up next, or are the Disney Plus shows going to be coming out first?
I don't know if any of the Marvel shows are on launch.
Yeah, none of the Marvel shows are on launch. I don't think we get the first Marvel show until like February or March, and I don't know which one it is.
If I had to bet, I would say they're going to do Falcon and Winter Soldier first.
It might, like that would be cool.
That's the one I want to see the most.
Because and here's why I say that is because that's not going to specifically tie into, but be related toward the Black Widow movie, just with Shield and the whole kind of way it is. And I think they'll probably do Loki around when the Thor thing, around that era. And I think they're going to do what's the other one coming out? The Wanda. They'll do that probably. I think they're going to do that around Doctor Strange. And I think she's going to be in Doctor Strange, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna like they do with everything, like they did with Shield, like the first couple seasons. Like they're gonna be really good about, I think, timing it and tying everything in together. Because why wouldn't you do that? Like why wouldn't you lead into the movie or vice versa?
Especially when they're controlling it all in house. Because now it's not like they have to go over to Jeff Loeb and say, "Hey, what are you doing on Agents of Shield?" It's like they go to the office next door and be like, "Okay, here's what we're doing." Yeah,
that's right.
Laying down the hammer. Put the hammer down.
They're a fist now. They were 5 fingers, and now they're a fist.
The fist.
Disney, the mouse fist. So the shows, those are the only 3 shows, right? Bucky and Captain America. Or sorry, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and Wanda. Oh no, the Hawkeye too. Hawkeye has a show.
Yeah, Hawkeye, but that won't be for a while. And then there's the She-Hulk show. That won't be for a while.
And then the other thing is What If, the cartoon What If. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think What If might actually be the first thing we get.
Yeah, well that's animated. It's cool. I'm looking forward to that almost more than anything, just because of the fact that the limit to what they can do with animation is so much better than what it's just higher what they can do with CGI and regular acting. And it's really cool that they're getting all the voice actors in on it too. And I can't fucking wait to see Marvel Zombies.
Will we still get Tom Holland and stuff as Spider-Man, or
I believe that they can use him for any TV show related shit, right?
Yeah, Disney was the one that hired Tom, so I think so. But I also part of me wonders if they're saying that it's going to be the same, it's going to be the actors from the movies doing their voices in the cartoon. What I'm wondering is how much of that is just going to be shit that's lifted straight from the movies. Because a lot of it
tones and stuff, but I could see some of it being
so I don't know, that's not to be a buzzkill on it, but because I feel like that is kind of a buzzkill statement, but I almost feel like that show, I don't know though, because the animation that they've shown from the pictures of Peggy Carter and Zombie Cap and Bucky, it almost looks like anime.
Yeah. I wonder if each What If thing, it'd be cool if they did it in a different animation style each time. That would be kind of like that Love, Death and Robots show on Netflix.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
Yeah. Or I don't know
if did that once.
Halo did
Halo video that they did. That was
Halo Infinite.
Styles. I really enjoyed that one. Is that what it was called? I can't remember what it was called, but it was fantastic.
They did a similar thing with. Do you guys remember the video game Dante's Inferno?
Yeah.
And they did a accompanying anime movie to that. It was basically just the same story retold in an anime style, and they had 3 different animators do it So like the first third of it was a completely different style than the next third and the last third.
Wow.
So that'd be cool if they got like a different guy to do each one, and I think he could do it in his own style.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Sorry, go ahead.
In other like animated news, the Marvel Spider-Man cartoon, I think I was telling Chris about this the other day.
I've been wanting to watch that.
The next
Just
season,
send that link through again because I lost it.
right on, we'll do. The next season of the show is starting up, and they're the last season introduced the symbiote, and what this coming season is going to introduce is the Venomized Marvel Universe. So I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a whole wave of Marvel Legends that are Venomized characters, and so far they said for sure you're going to see Hulk get Venomized, you're going to see Iron Man Venomized, Captain America Venomized, and other surprises. So
it would be really cool if they did a wave of that, and the Build-A-Figure was the Venom T-Rex from Old Man Logan. That would be fucking dope. I would love to have that as a nice.
That would be pretty cool.
You know, I speaking of Spider-Man animated, that Spectacular Spider-Man series, dude, I gotta tell you, I don't see what people get in that, or I don't get what people see in that series, because that shit is cringy as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. And then what they did with Venom and Eddie Brock, and the way their voices are, and the tone and the voice acting, it's just like, nah, man, I'll stick with the 90s.
Some cartoons are hit or miss, man, because a lot of times cartoons are straight up geared toward kids.
But I see people online and they like praise the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon like there was some masterpiece.
It's perception
like, dude,
of when
not that good.
when you're like 4 and you see something and you hold it dear, and then you grow up and you remember it from when you were 4. I mean, look at G1 Transformers. Like, anybody that watches G1 Transformers holds it pretty dear. There's a lot of like pretty diehard G1ers out there, but you watch an episode and it's
garbage.
Cringy as fuck.
So bad.
The exception,
but I'll still have it on in the background sometimes.
Yeah,
or I'll watch an episode just for good fun. Like,
I jest when I say it's garbage. It's amazing. I love it. I love it.
Right. Well, I've got hundreds of dollars tied into collectibles, associated with this.
Just
one cartoon.
Objectively speaking, it's not a good. It's
right.
It's
so I would assume that
full of errors and fucking shitty writing and.
Right. I would assume that people that praise it were 4 when they saw it, just like people that love G1 cartoon were like 4 when they saw it.
Fanboys, and we're all guilty of that too. We're all MCU fanboys. So we're like, yeah. I'm admittedly
we were all
biased.
adults when the MCU didn't grab us when we were in that little window of youth, though. Like,
see, the 90s animated Spider-Man show, that's what got me into everything. All
the characters
90s,
are nostalgia.
Under 7 years old, I was so that it just hit me, dude. But I watch them now and it still holds up.
Yeah. That was one of the rare, really well done shows that went on for what, like 5-6 seasons?
I think 4.
4? Okay.
It got a little weird there at the end with the whole Hydro Man, Mary Jane clone.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. But the majority of that series is just awesome. It's golden, dude.
Yeah, the animation was top shelf from the very beginning. And that was like one of the things that show had on top of the X-Men cartoon, which was on at the same time on Fox Kids. And like everybody loves the X-Men animated series, and I'm not hating on it. I love it too. But the animation in it is the comic book equivalent to G1 Transformers. It's hot fucking garbage
I
on
haven't watched that show
sidewalk
since it
in the
originally
middle of
aired.
summer in
when I was
Arizona
kid.
on a 105-degree day.
So this is hilarious to me because Levy from the Blackout and Shout show, I always argue with him about this because he can't stand the X-Men animated series. He said he thinks it's terrible, and he thinks it's the worst. He thinks it's terrible writing and terrible animation. And he always uses for example, like, you know, that GIF that we always see of Wolverine coming out of the Blackbird and he punches Cyclops.
Yeah.
He's like, if you watch that, it's like 5 frames per fucking second.
Yeah, it's garbage animation. Like, but that's the thing too. That show actually has a lot in common with G1 Transformers in the fact that there was like boom, 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 rapid turnaround for each episode because there was a lot going on at the time as far as traditional animation. When X-Men was made, it was before computers were really involved. So all of that was done by hand. And one of the things that I hate about it so much is there's so much black ink that's used on the characters and used on their bodies. And when you have to animate that, when you have like tiny little hairs going up and down Wolverine's arms because you want to depict him as hairy, it makes the animation take longer because you got to keep drawing those hairs the way you're drawing them. So it's details like that, and the fact that they were sloppy details, and that a lot of the time there was just thick amounts of black ink on the screen. And when it comes to a cartoon, you don't need to do that. But the reason they did that was like, well, we kind of want to make it look like a comic book. And it's like, that's dumb because this is a cartoon. And like, to do that, you're costing yourself more money, more time, more work by animators. And it just like,
Yep. And
I say that.
And I love how Spider-Man solved that.
Yeah.
With making, like, most of Venom, he was like blue, outlined in blue and stuff.
Yeah. The details in the Spidey cartoon were like super clean. The X-Men, they were fugly.
I'm just picturing Levy like listening to this, going like, "Yes, yes." So anyway,
I hold honestly the X-Men cartoon near and dear for the same reason as the G1 cartoon. I was a little kid when I saw it for the first time, and and that's my connection. I won't argue with any of the points that Neeko makes. I will only just say that I love it because I love it. It's just one of those things.
Neeko, you were about to say something. You were about to say something I probably think I was about to say too.
I will say I feel like I need to add this. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. But Pride of the X-Men, in my eyes, is like, aside from the voice acting fuck up of Wolverine and Pyro, it's fucking amazing. Like, the animation is brilliant, and it's done by Sunbow. They were the same guys that did G.I. Joe, that did Transformers, that did Gem. And their animation, when it comes to drawing human people, is so good. And it's so apparent that, like, even with that show, I fucking love that. I can watch that 28 minutes like a million times in a row. It's so good.
So what I was gonna say was that I think the difference between when you say like the X-Men is like the G1 cartoon, I think the difference is that I think the X-Men had way better like actual writing. Like, I think they did a pretty decent job in recreating the Dark Phoenix saga and Days of Future. I know Days of Future Past was they made it a little different, but
well, the thing was they had really good writing by Chris Claremont to take the story from and like build off of, and
Yeah.
you know,
They had source material, whereas Transformers, they made up to sell toys.
what do we call their planet? Transformertron? No, that's just silly. Cybertron? That's it.
All right, that was kind of a tangent. So back to the MCU. We'll just real quick go through some of the upcoming movies, and I think is Eternals or Black Widow, and then I think we're gonna have Eternals next.
Is that next?
I'm not sure, but I feel like the Eternals is definitely gonna come before.
It's early in the slate, I think.
Yeah,
I know they're actually filming it right now because I saw some pictures of Angelina on the set while they were shooting a scene. She was getting like water from a river with a bucket.
Might be Guardians of the Galaxy 3 might be the next one.
No,
and then Eternals. No, Eternals is because he's doing Suicide Squad too. So
yeah. So like the way.
So yeah, I guess it probably will be Eternals after Black Widow.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna do Shang-Chi. I think will probably be after that.
Which I'm excited to see, and I know nothing about.
Yeah.
I'm hype about that too.
With everyone else that I never knew anything going in, I'm gonna see it.
I'm at the point now where I just feel like they're making these decisions like, they're doing the Eternals, and the general populace doesn't know shit about the Eternals, just like they didn't know shit about Guardians of the Galaxy. But I trust Kevin Feige to oversee the making of a good movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like whatever he comes up with, and again, I'm going to be biased to a degree, but I am, pretty objective. Like, I'll admit if it sucks, but I will probably give it more of a chance just because it's Kevin Feige and Marvel. But I trust him. I trust him to take a movie like Eternals and a movie like Shang-Chi that nobody really knows what the fuck they're about, and they're going to make some good movies.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to use. I watched a video the other day. It was funny. They were like, the problem with Shang-Chi is that they can't use the source material for his dad because there's no way they're going to have an Asian guy name him Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
I mean, they should.
I think that's why I think the Mandarin is going to be the villain. Like, that'll end up being like Shang-Chi's dad or something. And
dude, I didn't notice this, but I know that they did the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, but what I didn't notice is that they're doing the what's it going to be called, like the Order of the Ten Rings or something?
Yeah.
That was the terrorist group from the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
I never fucking realized that until I watched that video on Shang-Chi the other day.
Yeah, even in the background in the first Iron Man, they have the symbol there.
Dude, it's so fucked up to think like they really did think like they just whoever made up this idea they're 1,000 steps ahead and not like writing it, but they have like
no, dude,
you know what they're doing, man. Like
I think a rough outline, dude.
I think Wayne said earlier they're not doing this shit by accident,
Yeah. Johnny Appleseed, man, planting them seeds, letting them trees grow.
So I'm hyped about Shang-Chi. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I'm in on. I'm so glad they got James Gunn back. It just, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. People say they didn't. I thought it was fucking awesome.
It was solid.
I love them both.
Yeah. So I thought the first one had like that initial magic because nobody knew about it, and it turned out to be so good. So the second lacked that surprise factor, but I thought it was still hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, there was a lot of really good stuff, and like Drax and Mantis, and
I think the third one probably gives them an opportunity to take it to the next level, like they did, between second Thor and the third Thor.
Yeah. I wonder.
Guardians 2 got a lot of development from Rocket too, which was nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we'll finally see Adam Warlock in Guardians 3. That'd be
Zac Efron.
I'm cool with that, by the way. I like Zac Efron.
I'd be cool with that. He's actually a good actor.
I wonder if they're going to tease him in Eternals too. That could be a good time to drop him.
Well, it depends. Yeah, it could, because I think like Eternals is going to take place like over several points in time, like over I I don't know if it'll be millions or thousands of years, but
Yeah.
like Eternals is going to be like the same way every other Marvel movie has had breadcrumbs and seeds that all led to, stuff in Infinity War or Endgame.
Yeah, I feel like Eternals is going to be a giant fucking Easter egg movie to lay
It,
out everything for the next wave, like all the
it's the,
cosmic stuff. They can drop any Silver Surfer shit that leads up to any Fantastic Four with cosmic radiation and
mhm.
waves and shit like that. They could really, Galactus. They can fucking introduce and the Beyonder for Secret Wars. It's just like
Dude,
this is going to be the
Reeves.
roadmap,
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves has to be the Beyonder.
um, and then after that, we're gonna probably have Doctor Strange will probably be the next one.
Ooh,
I'm hoping, and that one I'm really looking forward to because of the whole fact with Scarlet Witch being in it. I really think they can start laying the ground. What I think is that her show is going to be. I think Neeko or Wayne, somebody brought this up before we were talking about it, but so Vision's going to be it's going to be Wanda and Vision, but like Vision's not going to be Vision. Vision is going to be either like something that she creates in her head
Yeah.
or something like that. And I really
Or
think
like,
that they're going to end that with her going mad, and then
Mhm.
opening up rifts in the multiverse, and then Doctor Strange is going to be the one to tackle that. And
Yeah.
that's what I hope, or I don't hope, but I think that they're going to go in that direction.
yeah, man.
That's all
Yeah.
speculation.
Good idea. I could be well.
Yeah,
I could
no,
support that.
it sounds about right, because I think like from what I've seen and read, um, what they were saying about it is that like Wanda grew up. She didn't grow up the way we've all grown up. She grew up in like a very much war torn country. So the fact that like this show is supposed to be like kind of like Cuckoo Nut House, like in her own head type of deal. The fact that it's like they're saying it's going to be kind of like an old Dick Van Dyke style show. And it's like, well, Wanda didn't have that kind of upbringing. So, like, how does that happen that she gets sucked into like TV like that and starts imagining her like ideal life where like Vision is like her husband and he comes home to her and, you know, it's all this like crazy whacked out ideal shit for her in her mind of how things are, and maybe they have kids too, like
Yeah, Wiccan. What's the other one? The chick that was fast, I think, right? Was
I
it?
don't remember what her thing was.
I think she was fast. I think she had like Quicksilver's kind of power. I don't remember though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they could definitely introduce that. Yeah.
Definitely, and that would lead into like Young Avengers, but like they still have to set up whatever the next Avengers will be and what that next Avengers team will be too, like Spidey, Black Panther. Yeah.
I really, really want to see Bucky as Cap. I hope they don't skip me out on that, man.
I agree with that. I like not to take away Sam Wilson as Cap too because he's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Bucky to me like those the Death of Captain America like trilogy was I really like those are good books, and I'm a huge fan of the Winter Soldier character, and him as Captain America was really cool because he was kind of a little more edgy, like he was using guns and he had like a big hunting knife on the side of his fucking. But he was kind of like Cap, but with a little more like, little less fucking drink your milk and a little more fucking,
Yeah.
Let's fuck some shit up.
There's the U.S. agent who they're going to be introducing in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
It's John Cena, right?
No, I don't think it's John Cena.
No. Who was it?
What's that?
No, I think they cast somebody. I think John Cena was going to be U.S. agent.
I don't
feel like that was just like fan talks.
Yeah, I think that was some nonsense from like we got this covered or some shit.
Yeah, those fucking sites.
Yeah, clickbaity ass garbage. Well, like in the comics, he was basically like a black costume Captain America, and he was kind of a bad guy and like a douchebag, and was not like he wasn't Cap, but like they wanted to like replace Cap with this guy, and like he just kind of had a bunch of meltdowns and didn't really handle it all very well, and I'm kind of worried about them doing that in the show, but I'm also a bit more confident of them taking that old comic book story and making it a much better live action experience.
They've got the capability, man. I mean, I'm confident that if they when they get Spider-Man back and they're like, oh, we're gonna do the Clone Saga.
Oof.
I was like, huh? Okay, I'm sure they'll do something right about it.
The Jackal. So, for the last thing, I know this is since we're all huge Thor fans, like the Thor: Love and Thunder. That's one of the ones I'm looking forward to most, and I know they're doing the Jane Foster thing. Somebody had, I think it might have been Dakota, told me that the Jane Foster run as Thor in the comics was a terrible book.
Yeah.
So that kind of throws up some red flags, but it also at the same time, like, it's not going to be the same. You know, nobody liked Guardians of the Galaxy either until they were in just because the book was terrible doesn't mean that they're gonna, especially if they're paying attention, which it very much seems like they are, then they'll realize that people don't like that, fix all the issues with it, and just use the character.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too worried about anything because, like, Ragnarok was fucking brilliant in everything that it does, and I think we'll probably even see Grandmaster again in Love and Thunder.
That'd be fantastic. I hope so.
Hopefully, it's his birthday.
It's my birthday. But like, I don't know. Like, I think Taika, when he does like interviews and stuff like that, or I know he likes to troll like some of his fans on like Twitter and Instagram and shit like that. Like, people are kind of tripping out about Natalie Portman playing Thor, and they're like, well, what about Chris Hemsworth? And it's like, no, Chris Hemsworth is still the star of the movie. It's still about him. Natalie Portman is coming back, and she's probably going to hold a hammer, and she's probably going to get some Thor powers. And
so in the book, they make it a big deal. They make it a thing. Like, so anybody that's worthy of the hammer becomes Thor. But in the show, I think that they specifically state that. I'm sorry, in the movie that I don't think they when he curses or blesses the hammer or whatever, he says the powers of the Thor, right?
Powers,
yeah. So she's just gonna be Jane Foster, and then she'll pick up the hammer and she'll get some armor and she'll be able to throw fucking lightning out of her cooch.
Exactly. I want some lightning cooch.
And I think that's awesome. Somebody said on the fucking one of these threads, and they were like, something like, I can't see Natalie Portman playing a badass. I'm like, yeah, I don't, first of all, she's an actress. Just because she hasn't played a fucking superhero before doesn't mean that she can't act like a bad. I mean, that's acting. She doesn't have to be a badass. Yeah. And also, she was pretty fucking badass in V for Vendetta, at least in the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Say what you want about Star Wars, but she had some fucking balls in that movie.
In the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
So I sent the guy that said it. I sent him a.
Except for when she got sad.
Yeah.
I sent him the video of Natalie, that Saturday Night Live skit where she does the rap.
Natalie's rap.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward, especially with Taika Waititi being there. Like,
Dude,
I think the best thing that they ever did with the MCU was make Thor a comedic role.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I hope we get fucking Beta.
Oh yeah, that's something they really need to do, man.
Yeah.
They really need to fucking do that.
I do enjoy me a horse face.
I was thinking you could even get Will Arnett to voice him.
Horse Thorse.
Why the long face?
Will Arnett is a fucking great idea. Has that been a rumor around there? Or is that something that you just plucked out?
That's just something I just threw out there.
That would be a fuck, because BoJack Horseman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a fucking awesome idea.
That would be hilarious.
I love that.
Oh shit!
So
the guy with the $3,000 Stormbreaker is gonna hold the elevator for the guy with the $200 Mjolnir. Come on!
I mean, come on! But still, where'd the fire come from? Or where'd the lighter fluid come from? I fucked that up. I'll edit that out to make me seem funnier than it actually was. So we're at about an hour and a half now, with that first 20 minutes being us figuring out life. But before we end this, just I want to go around the horn again and just say, like, just I'm gonna ask. So Wayne, like, out of all this new stuff that's coming up, shows, movie, otherwise, what is the single thing that you're looking forward to the most?
Probably the new Thor.
Yes, good answer.
Sweet. Yeah.
And Chris, same question. And we'll just, for you, we can assume that Spider-Man is living well and prosperous in the MCU.
Yeah. Aside from that, I'm thinking the Falcon Winter Soldier show, man. I gotta see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And Neeko, what are you looking forward to the most?
You know, it's a tough call between Thor and Doctor Strange. Like, I'm more inclined to go with Doctor Strange, just because after everything that's happened to everybody else in the MCU, and him being him, having experienced everything he's experienced, I can't wait to get more of his snarky shit and, like, just dude. Like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. Like, I can't wait to see more, and like wherever that story goes, but knowing that, like, Scarlet Witch is going to be in it, and they're saying that Paul Bettany is going to be in it, so Vision on some level will be there. And then what do you call it? There's a rumor about the dude that played Quicksilver showing up.
Kick-Ass, whatever his fucking name is.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. They're saying that he's going to be in WandaVision, and he'll probably also be, like, showing up in Doctor Strange. So it's like,
that's a good answer.
That's pretty dope. If they actually bring him back and have him in the MCU, and then we can actually, like, delve into who their father is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be super interesting. I think that's what I'm looking forward to most, is the Doctor Strange, and specifically, like you were saying, like a scene. I just want to see, like, a scene or a part of the movie. Is he pulling thread? Is he tying the shoes still? Okay. I'm really hoping that we see, like, some sort of scene where they're jumping through different multiverses, and because I think every single possible multiverse that they show, even if it's for a matter of seconds, is going to be an Easter egg toward the whatever existing universes in the Marvel universe. Like, so they can jump through and you'll see Age of Apocalypse. They could jump through, you see Marvel 1602. You know what I mean? Like, they could just throw like even like if it's like a 5-second clip and they're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Yep, that'd be cool.
Totally.
They could they could tease like the Ultimate Universe and also that is a way for them. I don't know if they're gonna wait that long to do it, but with having multiverses, it's totally a way they could bring in things like the X-Men and Fantastic Four without having to explain where the fuck they've been the whole time.
No, they're not going to do that though. You've seen the way Kevin Feige builds stories. He's going to lay the seeds, and like Eternals is going to be the first bit of like seed dropping we're going to get of like mutants in the Marvel universe, because they're like the I guess the daddy of the mutants will be
the Celestials were, right? In the comics, I think that's how it happened.
I think that like there's probably going to be some level of that like in the movie. So I don't know if they're going to show us like Apocalypse at some point. That'd be pretty fucking amazing. Like if they go through like Egypt and see this big fucking ugly ass blue mutant. Just like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, man, that'd be so.
Yeah, we definitely have so fucking much to look forward to, and a lot of people were saying that Endgame was their peak, and that it's all going to be going from downhill from here, and just even if they don't get quite to Endgame numbers, which I think they probably might, I still think that just because they don't hit that number doesn't mean it's going to be bad, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, it could still be fucking amazing. Like, fucking, the best weed is the best, but, the second best weed is still pretty fucking good weed.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably going to continue to want to build a story up and ramp it to another grand finale at the end of another, So they'll start planting seeds now and grow a universe over the course of the next few years, and it'll lead up to another, Endgame event somewhere down the line.
I think it'll be hard. It'll be hard to get to that point because of the fact that, Thor, Cap, and Iron Man, the three core, like they're not going to have Cap and Iron Man, and who knows if they're going to have Thor at that point.
Well,
but
it'll be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it'll.
I'm just saying they're going to have to use.
It won't be centered around the Avengers, I don't think. I think maybe some building event that eventually leads to the X-Men and their big event or something.
But with them using less popular characters, I don't know if they'll. Again, I just don't. Like I said, they're not going to make the top grossing movie ever fucking made, but it's going to be on that fucking top 10, which is still amazing. That's just my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, like
the foundation of movies can't be right. Like they're gonna, just like Iron Man, they spent a lot of years building with foundational movies to achieve an end game. In order to, they'll have to do a bunch more foundational movies as it builds to that big number again, which they'll hit it again. With,
I hope so. I hope
culmination of it.
Yeah, they do Secret Wars, dude, which is the next thing they could build to within the next year. So many years, dude. Like
Secret Wars seems like that would be the most go-to one because just like Infinity Gauntlet, everybody knows. Even like people that are kind of into comics know about the Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And I really think if they nail the X-Men too, Avengers vs. X-Men could be a fucking fire of amazing movies.
Yeah, it could be really good. And I think even with Black Panther 2, maybe we'll get Storm introduced in that,
Yeah, that would be awesome. Speaking of Black Panther 2, they're going to be introducing Namor, and that's going to be rumor has it anyway. That's going to be fucking awesome. Just oh my god, dude, it's just so fucking exciting. Just even thinking about talking all the things that just me and you guys, we're all going to be talking about for the next fucking, hopefully 10 years.
Totally, man. Like, that's the one crazy thing.
There's so much good source material to...
Exactly.
Endless.
Dude, like, I was thinking about it earlier when you were talking about the first Iron Man movie. Like, my life has changed so much from that first movie to like now, and it's like, wow, man, that's like seriously been like a huge chunk of time, and like totally mind-blowing but totally awesome, because these movies are fucking awesome. And
it's at this point,
Oh,
no, go ahead, Wayne.
I was gonna say, for me, that was a huge. It was that realization of the time that I invested and the amount of emotion I had invested that was the huge pull to switch my transition, like in my figure collecting. Like, we haven't talked a lot about toy collecting, I know, but like once I switched my focus from the Transformer collecting into the MCU collecting, and not just MCU but Marvel Legends line specifically, it really piqued my interest in the movies as well. Like, it was that same, seeing it on the screen, having it in hand, kind of like as when I was a kid thing that really drove me, I know that it's like that, that realizing, geez, with this much time invested, I really, that should be the focus of my collection as much as, this one cartoon from when I was 6.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Like my collecting is like collecting Transformers. Like recently, I've kind of like been a little excited about things because a bunch of things are coming out that I'm looking forward to, and all the Beast Wars. They're doing stuff other than G1, which I think is really cool. Which I'm excited about. But it's almost like trying to get that season 1, season 2, and movie collection is almost become a chore. Whereas I'm just trying, I'm not even caring about getting like the best figure. I just want to like get that character filled in so I can not worry about it anymore. But I'm way more worried about getting these fucking fig arts of these MCU stuff and the Legends, and even besides the MCU stuff, like the X-Men and stuff like that. It's just Marvel stuff in general. Like, I'm just way more excited about getting.
The way these things disappear as like a toy collector, it's like the window is so small to just nab these things and have them and not stress about it. Like, I kind of feel like there'll always be another Optimus Prime out there for me to grab. There'll always be another Soundwave. There'll always be another Megatron. But like, if I want that one MCU figure from this one movie, like, they're gonna release it, and then SH will have a release of it, and there'll be that window, and then after that, it's aftermarket ridiculous prices.
Yeah. They're not going to re-release Infinity War Figure Arts Thor, 5 years from now. So that's and at that point, nobody's going to be doing new ones. So you're right.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things I love about the Figure Arts figures is like they're awesome and typically really well made. They're kind of pricey, especially if you compare to Legends, which like most collectors just get Legends, and those are $20 retail figures, but you're paying for die cast and quality paint, and in the case of Thor, a pretty decent likeness. Not perfect, but pretty fucking good.
The cool thing about the Schlub Thor coming out is that with the beard and stuff like that, it masks a lot of that shit. The long hair and the beard. Yeah.
I will say that the PS4 Spidey coming out looks amazing. The attention detail to the
watched that
paint on the bottom of the feet. That blows my mind. Like,
I watched that video before we did this. It looks so beautiful. Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, whenever it releases, there'll be people in the figure arts groups that are selling it, so I'll buy one.
So one more real quick, and we'll do this, and then we'll end it. I just go around the table. Like, what's your favorite MCU figure that you own, Wayne?
Well, let's see. I think it's probably my Marvel Select Gladiator Hulk. It's huge. It fits the bill. It's better than any of my Marvel Legends Hulk figures that I have. It's just got that it factor,
That's a good looking figure, man. And I like how it's big. It's bigger. Like, all those selects are cool because they're not as articulate, but they're detailed very nice, and they're just huge.
Yeah, if you can find one position that looks fantastic on your shelf in a dynamic pose, and you're really happy with that, or if you can find 2 or 3, especially if you can find more than a couple, then you're doing really well probably. But those few that you can get, those poses always look fantastic, and I'm super happy with the one that I have.
Nice. That's an awesome answer, because I was expecting something from Infinity War or Marvel, but that's your favorite. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok.
That's it.
Chris, what's your favorite MCU figure?
Oh, I would say Far From Home Spider-Man, the figure arts.
Nice. I'm mad. I'll try and pick that up eventually, but
that man, the Infinity War Hulk figure arts too, man. I mean,
those are both great calls.
Those two. My answer is both of those.
Neeko, favorite MCU figure? It's funny that you're not saying anything, and I can hear the crickets in the background. It's almost like they're waiting.
I know what you're gonna say. I feel like I know already.
I don't want to fuck up the quote, but since the hardest choices require the strongest wills.
I knew it.
Yeah, Infinity War Thanos. Just like, I love that figure. I love the Endgame Thanos too, aside from like the, wrong gauntlet hand and all that and whatever, but like...
Oh, you mean this wrong gauntlet hand? Bam!
But the Infinity War Thanos is just, it's such an awesome representation of him in that movie, and that Infinity War is Thanos' movie. So like that figure, magnifique.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed out on that one.
And that is also mine. That's not only my favorite MCU figure, that's in my top 5 figures that I own. And I have the armored gauntlet here because I had this out because I got the Takara Tony custom pack with the forearm and the new blades and the rock and shit. But yeah, the Infinity, because the articulation's hindered a little bit by the armor. But yeah, that Infinity War fucking Thanos is my favorite MCU figure. It's such a fucking amazing figure.
Yeah, it's as close to perfect as you can get. It's big, look, it's heavy.
That Infinity War Thanos Legends figure, and I'm not trashing it at all. It's a fucking cool figure. But people on the fucking groups that were saying that the Infinity War figure, the Legends, is better than the Figure Arts figure are on acid or something.
No, don't insult acid like that. Don't say that about LSD. LSD never hurt anybody like that. They didn't deserve it.
Wayne, you have that figure, right? You have the Legends Thanos?
The armored one? I have the armored one. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You do. You have the Build-A figure. Yeah. You didn't get the 3-pack with Doctor Strange and...
I did not, no. That's one of the ones I missed.
So again, I'm not talking shit about that figure. It's a fine figure. It's just a legend. And to compare it to the Fig Arts is absolute insanity.
Yeah, it is insane. There's no comparison comparing.
There are a few Legends figures that I would say are of such exceptional quality that you could put them in, like, to say that they're in the same neighborhood maybe as an SH, but that wasn't one of them.
No, not at all.
All right. My answer on that's going to change, though, as soon as the Mezco homemade suit comes in, the Mezco exclusive, that'll be my favorite.
Did that come? That didn't. They didn't solicit that, did they? Yet?
Oh, that's been
out for a while.
Yeah.
The Homecoming, you said.
Yeah, the Homecoming.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Far From Home. Okay, all right.
No, that comes out next year.
Okay.
Ready, get it.
So on that note, I'm gonna end this shit. guys, thank you for fucking doing this. I told you it was going to be 40 minutes to an hour tops, and we're at about an hour and 50 right now, almost.
Yeah,
fun, man.
It's awesome. Yeah, I was so glad I got a chance to do this, and I can't wait to do it again. We'll think of another topic, and so once again we have I don't know where I was going with that. This is the worst ending I think I've ever done in any of my videos.
Well, you go back, you cut that outro, and
I'll save that for the bloopers.
Bleeper of the blooper.
But yeah, thanks for coming on and doing this with me.
Dude, hell yeah!
And, I can't wait to do it again.
Sure.
So Wayne Fort, Christopher Sturm, and Neeko Tronus.
Kapow.
Everybody have a great night and caw.